And so now you have this market producing much to become valuable to go down. I kind of wonder how much this is coordinated. But I also find it interesting to see George has been going for quite a bit. Flag is a high fire. She's
Well, so my understanding, the reason why, so I've kind of done a deep dive into it, and it's because of lightning strikes that are the cause of the fire. So we are in our community in Little Valley, since we've lived there, 4 homes have been struck by lightning. It's like kind of unheard of. So it is a little odd, but I don't really understand if it's really, it may just be a little valley thing, I'm not really sure. But I don't know. But yeah, if you have any questions, you have my phone number.
We're going to get started in a couple minutes. If everyone can take their seats.
Not ashamed of any of it. But I know. Well, one of them was a complete destroy. Another one, it was like the garage was destroyed. But yeah, since we was there, hi, how are you?
Welcome, everyone. We'll invite our chair candidates up to their seat and we'll get started.
Haley, you want us up there now?
Yeah, I'll take my chair candidates.
Oh, sorry.
Come on in. We have more chairs we can set out if you need some more in the back there. So good to have so many of you. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here, delegates. My name is Haley Kaplan. If you don't know me, I'm the president of the Washington County Republican Women. So our theme is be involved, be informed, and be united. So we wanted you guys to be able to be informed of the candidates in our county party leadership. So we wanted to host this debate. So thank you so much for coming and getting to know the candidates. Afterwards, you can mingle a little more too. If you didn't catch some. We do have a hard stop. We got to be out of the library at 7:45, so just keep that in mind. But thank you so much for coming. A couple announcements. I just wanted to make you aware for the rest of the week, there's still a few more events if you want to be able to meet more candidates or share with other delegates. Tomorrow night, there's another event here at 5:30. Am I seeing that right? Okay, 5:30, you can come meet candidates again. And then Thursday night at 6 at Alexis Ence's home. And then Friday night is on Formaster Ridge. It's the GOP birthday, meet the candidates and send off for the previous executive team. So please join us at any of those events. And then of course, we'll see you bright and early on Saturday. So. And then another event I wanted to make you aware of, the Republican Women, every year we do a post-legislative forum with our Sunshine Caucus. So that'll be the first Thursday of April, April 3rd at Abbey Inn. And our legislators come and report on the session. It's always a good one to come. So RSVP and let us know if you want to come to that. We'd love to have you join us. That's for men and women. And then lastly, I wanted to have all the candidates stand up and so I could point them out to you in case you didn't know their faces. So can I have the candidates stand and we obviously will be introducing our chair candidates, but I'm just gonna point them out as I see them over here. We'll start over here. Chad Benyon, raise your hand. Perfect. We've got next to him, Nicole Mowry. Michael Parker, also. And then we've got Ray Boyer. She's running for legislative chair. District 73, right? details. Then we've got Gary Henderson, Secretary at SCC. I should mention those ones up there were SCC. Let's go to the middle. Chris Harward, Secretary. Jordan Hess, SCC. Alexis Entz, SCC. And then we go over to Tim Barney. He's District 74 Legislative Chair candidate. And then we have David Headstone, also District 74. It's kind of cutting out. There we go. Okay, and then I can't see who behind. That's Bill behind, Bill Hoster, SCC. Okay, thank you. We've got Paul Gooch, SCC. Larry Myers next to him, SCC. And then we've got Victor Iverson, SCC. So many good candidates. We've got Shabine Butler. Emily Butler. We've got Randa Todd back there. She's District 73 Legislative Chair candidate. I got Gary, yes. Did we miss any candidates? And then, sorry, go ahead. Yes, thank you. I was going to say that next. Lisa Sandberg has asked to be excused. Her father had surgery this week, so she's also running for SCC. And I think we got everybody. So if you saw someone you haven't had a chance to connect with, please connect with them after or later this week at these other events. We're so appreciative to them running. So before we get started on the debate, we're going to have a prayer by Shabine Butler, and then Emily Butler is going to lead us in the pledge. I hear they are a House United, so we're making them do it.
That's why we make a prayer. Please, everybody, if you could please rise. Dear Heavenly Father, we are gathered here today to offer thanks for the life that we have come to enjoy and embrace. And we know that you are the reason for these freedoms that we are sharing. We ask for peace in the world. We ask for love in everyone's heart. We ask that everybody have an open ear and please listen to what we believe is driven by your heavenly guidance. I ask that you please let us listen, learn, and remember that without you, God, nothing is possible. We ask these things in the name of our Heavenly Father. Amen. Amen.
Behind you. Wait.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Well, so the rules, just so you're aware, they're going to have a 3-minute opening statement, and then the questions, they can have 2 minutes. If they want a rebuttal, they can have a 1-minute rebuttal. We've got Kieran here helping us out with time. Thank you so much. So if you candidates, if you want to watch the sign, she'll kind of give you a warning when you're getting close, and that will keep us getting through a lot of questions. If you have questions that you wrote on your card, just hand them and we'll get them passed up. And we had some emailed in, so we're just filtering through as many as we can. So, all right, let's get started. I didn't roll the dice on who goes first, so we'll just rotate. Whoever starts first,
Let
then
Brandan
we
go.
can. Okay.
Willie, you've got first speaking order here. Do you want to take it?
No, but
Okay. Welcome, delegates. Good evening. We live in a pressing time where it's important to judge people by their fruits. And it's not enough to only take someone at face value without concrete backup evidence. I ask you to judge me on my fruits and qualifications and accomplishments here tonight. Before I jump into my fruits, I wanted to share my vision for Washington County. I lived in the county for 35 years, and I've seen this burgeoning, growing county grow by leaps and bounds. Okay, with the good, and also we've had some growing pains, which many of you have experienced. I'll address those in a moment here. When I was 15 years old, I felt a conservative desire growing in me and abounding in my soul. My thoughts then and now resonate with the message written on the Liberty Bell. If I raise a hand, how many of you have seen the inscription on the Liberty Bell? Okay, a good handful. It says, "Proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof." That's in Leviticus 25:10. My vision is one where we as a county unite behind our belief in liberty, so much that it becomes infectious for our representatives to use the government closest to the people out of duty. And therefore, we will continue to get great candidates through an inspired convention caucus system. As I've been involved in the party for over the last 6 years, I've seen the need in the following areas for growth and repair. And these are my platform points. Many of you have seen them on a lot of the information I've sent out. Number one, restore conservative values and the strength in those values. I believe that limited government, personal responsibility, traditional family, rule of law, and national security. Edmund Burke was an example of this, and his quote on this was, "It was not temporary force, uncertainty, impairment, or even experience that Burke cited as the primary reason for avoiding war with the American colonies. Rather, it was the character of the American people themselves. In this character of Americans, a love of freedom is the predominant feature which marks and distinguishes the whole. The fierce spirit of liberty is stronger in the English colonies probably than in any other people on earth." And that is my vision, to unite that liberty. Number two, we will rebuild a revitalized belief in the caucus system. I will work closely with college Republicans and elect a committee in which 5 new young voters will be on that caucus committee. My goal is to have them invite 5 new caucus, younger voters to caucus meetings, which would increase to about 635 new youth voters. Number 3, I want to renew a vision in competent and caring leadership. This includes more listening, less talking, a leadership that sets an example, leadership that instills values of liberty, and a leadership that is transparent. Last evening, I shared my why, and I'd invite you to watch my video, my second video that I put out, and I'll share a link with you. We as a county are best. We are the best county in the state, and it's important that we have leadership to match the caliber of delegates that we have here in Washington County. Thank you for the chance to serve.
Yeah. That works. Okay, thanks, Brandan. Okay, thank you all for being here. My interest has grown over the last 10 years in reserving as the chairman of this party. 12 years ago, I was the chairman here, and then I was the chairman of the vice chairman of the state party, and that was when SB 54 came through. And I have been frustrated and studying and watching counties try to combat that, the legislature trying to go back and forth on this issue. And over the last 10 years, I've watched as our county has grown and our county party has struggled with unity. And seeing that and seeing the massive effort that the county party has put forward the last 2 years, the last 4 years, all these things with really not significant measurable change. And my sweetheart wife said that she's going to run another term as mayor, which she was running this year, so she got 1 more year plus 4. That means I know what the next 5 years of my life's going to be. So I said, sweetie, I'm getting off the sidelines. I'm sick and tired of watching this go downhill and everybody fighting their own battle. Trying to increase caucus attendance is important, but it's a symptom. Some of you have shared that with you. The real issue is that 90% of the Republicans in Washington County know nothing about our party. They don't know what a caucus is, and we're not reaching out to them on a massive, massive basis. And so I shared this with Rob Axon, the state chairman. He said, Willie, that's the plan. Let's do it statewide. I'll fund it. And then we said, no, let's not do it statewide because there's too much pushback. Just do it in the most conservative county there is, Washington County. Prove it can be done there, and then we'll take it county by county by county after that happens. But we can't chase a symptom. What we have to do is engage the other 90% of the voters, let them know who we are, where we're at, how to get a hold of us, and who their neighbors and friends are right in their neighborhoods that are vetting the candidates and are asking the tough questions. And as soon as we change their minds, I'm talking a mass campaign of meetings and meetings. You'll hear my campaign speech on Saturday, but As soon as we do that on a mass basis with not just meetings, but social media and thousands of 1-minute videos, teaching them all about that, it's going to do two things. It's going to change their minds as to where they go for information instead of going to the TV commercials, which has no value. They will turn to their neighbors and friends that actually met with them, and that's where they'll get their information, and the voters will come together between the primary and the other thing. If we teach them how bad SB 54 is, and they hate it, they won't sign the dang petitions. And the only thing that we can do, the only way to do this, is to destroy the need to use SB 54. Thank you.
I'm just gonna scoot this back because you guys have your heads cut off on the video when you stand up.
Is that good?
Yeah, so hopefully that's better for those watching online. When you stand up here, see if you're in the frame.
A little bit more
A
back
little
on
more.
the board.
If you tip the screen.
And tip it a little bit. Yeah, there you go.
Is that good?
Not good. I know it's not a great, super great angle, but we're doing our best.
There you go.
We're not professionals.
That'll do it right there.
All right, thank you. Okay, well, I wanted to read what it says in our bylaws for the chair duties, just so you delegates can keep that in your mind as you're vetting them. It says the chair, in addition to the duties charged by statute, shall be the chief executive officer of the Republican Party in Washington County and shall preside over all meetings of the County Central Committee and the Executive Committee. The chair shall effectuate the policies and shall perform all duties as may be prescribed by these bylaws or as may be assigned by the Executive Committee or the County Central Committee. So keep in mind that's the roles that's laid out in our bylaws. We're going to start with a question that we're going to ask you guys. What is something you would do the same as the previous executive team, and what's something you would do different from the previous executive team? So let's see, Brandon started first. We'll go to Willie here.
The same?
Same and different.
I would build a massive team, and hopefully they would be willing to work as hard as the past team did. I would encourage that this is a big effort, and we're going to have to work hard to get this done. There's no room for tentativity in our goal sets here. What's different, as I explained a little bit in my opening remarks, is that I would be focusing on the bigger picture and engaging those people and doing things that have never been done before. And it's not just Washington County. I've watched county after 28 counties. When I was the vice chairman, I traveled to the counties. I spoke at their conventions. I talked to them, and I watched them over the last 10 years, and bless their hearts, they're trying really hard. They're good people. But we're not going to save the caucus system by continuing to do the same thing where we've had no results. So I would massively change our engagement process from all standpoints. And then I would make sure, and this is dear to my heart, but I would make sure that the people within the party, that everybody felt needed and listened to and valued. And nobody would be alienated because of differences of opinion. We're going to have them. And there's great ways to work through that. Adam Snow told me, just as we were visiting before this, there's some people that if you disagree with them, they're just going to try to tear you apart. I said, I just meet with them face to face, one-on-one, show them love and compassion, listen to them, and bring people together rather than being offended and alienating people. That sows division faster than anything.
So for me, the same, I would continue to promote our Lincoln Day events and continue to fundraise. I'll be honest with you, when we started this thing 4 years ago, we had $20,000 in the party, okay, as a reserve to use and to grow and to fund and train in caucus. We now have over $80,000 in which we have been successfully spending and training, but we have a reserve to use in the event that we need to use that. And some people question whether or not we've used it all efficiently. We have, and we continue to grow that. So I would continue to have 2 relevant big name speakers come to St. George The events would fund themselves. I'd get donors to fund the event so that it was a profitable event from the beginning, and we would continue to grow those reserves so we can put that money into caucus promotion. That would be the thing I would continue. Changing, we are a massive tent as a party. We need to be inclusive of all Republicans, not a certain type of Republican, okay? I'll give you an example. Our goal as a Republican Party is to not cleanse the party to where we have a certain type of Republican. We need to be inclusive and open to all Republicans. We need everyone. In order to be the size of the party and have the power that we need to have to be efficient through caucus and other means, we have to grow the party. And sometimes that is a little uncomfortable when we have people come into the party that may not agree with the exact same mentality that we have. They may not like the exact same candidate we like. But as we go through the convention process and we learn about these candidates and these candidates meet that threshold of 70%, it will convince some candidates not to collect signatures and go the route of convention. And so that is something that I would change, is that inclusive nature, the larger tent theory. Thank you.
Brandon? How long is the rebuttal? 1 minute, okay. What Brandon said just sparked something else in my mind. When I was a chairman before, the most money that had ever been raised was $35,000. And I got in there as a chairman. I said, let's raise $100,000. And people's chins hit the floor. Why? It doesn't cost that much money to run the party. And I go, we don't want to just run the party. And then people said, well, if you raise that much money, and then they said, look how much money you're spending. We left enough money in there to run the party. Well, but who of you wants to donate money just so the party exists? Or would you rather donate money that it's used to help our Republican candidates win? That's what's got to happen. And I want to raise enough money and use it effectively so our candidates feel like, man, we're supporting them. We're donating to their campaigns. We're valuable to them. And we're actually using it so candidates value us because we're helping support and give them money so that our Republican candidates can win.
You guys were on. My next question was, what will you specifically do to help fundraise? So is there anything else you guys wanted to add on that?
Yeah. So I do want to just add real quick, a bylaw was passed last year which allows the party to now donate to candidates that have won at convention. And that money that Willie was talking about, we did donate money to specific candidates. We were able to give some money to the state party, which was reallocated back to our state candidates. And so the money does not just sit there, it is used accordingly. We just have been very efficient and effective in the fundraising process. Other means of fundraising is the question? So I touched on this a moment ago. If I'm going to run an event, I'm going to make sure in advance the event is paid for through donations so that we don't go into the red with that event. I want the event to be profitable and not have to worry about how many tickets do we have to sell to break even. Okay, I want to make sure that the funding is available there. I have a plan to have 2 members on this committee that will go out and help with the fundraising tactics. I don't want to disclose who they are because they may be in this room here tonight, but it is something that I pride myself in, and I will be able to make those connections with the right people so that we have the funds available to train, educate, and allow for the growth of the party. Thank you.
Yeah, just real quickly, when I was on state basis, I was I became very aware of how to raise party for the money, because when you're on a state level, it kind of opens your eyes to all of the avenues. But what I don't want to do is be a county party funded by wealthy people. And if I engage these thousands and thousands and thousands of people that have never been engaged before, small donations now break records of how much money we have. So that's what I'm planning.
One last thing on fundraising that was submitted. Let's just do a lightning round, whether you agree or not. The question was, do you agree with spending more money on the Juneteenth event than the convention nominees? Just do a quick 10 seconds.
So short answer, no. The Juneteenth event will be moved. I will ask the city of Washington to take that over at the Veterans Park. They've offered to do so. I would not spend more money on on the Juneteenth event. In fact, it won't be an event that the party will sponsor.
Agreed, no.
All right, moving on. Our next question is, how closely should you be able to work with the local elected officials? What kind of relationships do you have with them? I can't remember who's first.
Why don't you bring your chairs out front, gentlemen?
That's a really good idea. He's sitting there, hey, Chairman, come on, thank you. Get your chairs out front. Yes, thank you. I think it's incredibly important they have a healthy relationship. They need to know they can count and trust me. They know that they need to know that I'm going to be the guy that asks the tough questions and want answers. So I've got the answers when people are coming to me, so I can better support them. That's that transparency, or at least really, really good flow of information. So I've got the information, because as chairman before, man, I had hundreds and hundreds of people calling me about different issues. And at that point, I wasn't aware enough of where I should be to really engage in that as much as I could. But now, having served in all these different capacities, I know that my engagement with Victor and all of the elected officials, Adam, all these guys, everybody, I don't want to start naming names, but I want to build a closer relationship with them where they know that they can count on me, but they know it's trust and verify. That is a true principle, you guys. And I expect the same in return. I don't expect them just to believe me. I mean, check it out. Make sure what I'm saying is accurate. But I'm also the kind of guy that I learned about 25 years ago from a business mentor of mine, that if somebody calls you out, okay, or they, what's some other words for that? But if if somebody has criticism, okay, the first thing to do is shut emotion down and ask, is there any value to the criticism? Do I need to change? Do I need to think about it? And then do your due diligence and find that out and talk to them without emotion engaged in the conversation. Just two human beings talking, trying to come and agree with each other and come to an agreement and then support each other. Thank you.
So let me play devil's advocate real quick. If we were to not have good relationships with our elected officials and not support them through the convention process, do you think they'd want to have good relationships back with us? Answer is no. I believe having a great relationship with elected officials is paramount to the success of the party, but we also need to make sure that we have a very transparent relationship with the elected officials where they feel like their views can be heard and validated. If any of you got my text message yesterday, there were many elected officials that have endorsed me, and that shows that I do have good connections and relationships with the elected officials. Does that mean that I will let that override my role as chair in representing the delegates and the other Republicans in the county? The answer to that is no. But I have the ability to work with the elected officials and then bringing that information back to the party. The elected officials want to go through the convention process as they have the word I'm looking for is as they have that mindset that the delegates support them going through that process. It's a two-way street. And again, the short answer to that is it's important. Please look at my record and look at those that I have good relationships with. And that speaks for itself. Okay, thank you.
All right, are we ready to jump in? This one might take 3 minutes. Let's do 3 minutes because it's SB 54. So we want to know specifically, what are some specific things you can do or you think the county party can do to help us overcome SB 54, or how you're going to make that less relevant so that candidates want to go through the caucus system. Let's see here.
So the party has tried to initiate a process to make SB4 a little less attractive or a little weaker. Okay, is it the right path? No, we still need to be a little bit more forceful on this. But what the party in Washington County has done has raised the threshold to 70%. And if a candidate comes through convention and gets over that 70% threshold, there's no primary. This incentivizes candidates to come through the convention caucus process as they have that strength and trust in the delegates. And so that's one thing that the party has done to strengthen, or I should say to weaken SB 54, okay? My personal opinion, SB 54 is something that was a compromise that we need to do away with. However, I will be cautious in saying that it is a legislative process that the county party will and can support, but it does have to be done at the legislative. It is a law. It is something that we have to either undo through our legislatures and giving them solutions and ideas to present that. Believe me, they've all gone up there and tried to work and work with other members up there to try to pass something that would lessen its ability to be strong and to force people through a signature gathering round. But we as a party have to back them in their efforts, okay? Many of you in this room might have very solid and very good solutions to doing away with that, or at least preventing and lessening its strength. But again, it is something that the state legislature would have to go through. But I, as a chairman here in St. George, or in Washington County, would support them and do what I can to bolster that, okay? I know when Willie was serving as the vice chair of the party, he fought hard to do away with that bill when it was new. They spent a lot of money trying to battle and fight against that bill, to the point of really not having much money left at the end. And it was a just cause. But unfortunately, you've seen how hard everybody has worked as a party to battle against it. And we have to support our legislators to resolve that ultimately. So that is the solution that I have as a party chairman. I will do everything I can to support them in that process so that it can be taken away and ultimately not a resource for candidates to use to gather signatures to move forward. Thank you.
I think legitimately, both of us and everybody in the room wants to get rid of SB 54, right? Say right.
Right.
Okay. So, and that's where my experience comes in, is that when I say we're chasing the wrong things, we've got to make it, we can't count on the legislature doing this. They've been trying for years. And I spoke with the legislature today at length about this. And he said, it is not going to happen legislatively. He says, because count my vote, the people that originally started that are still there. They're still well-funded, and they're still making threats that if there's any attack on SB 54, they're just going to bring back a citizens initiative statewide and get rid of the caucus convention system. That's what he said. So, and what I loved about what he said is that my plan has nothing to do with the legislative body doing it. My plan is the people take it over. And we've got so many people involved and you see, if you bring the primary voters getting their information the same place that the delegates, or from the delegates, which is the information the delegates got, the difference in the vote between the delegates and the primary voters start to come together. And as soon as candidates realize that it's taken over their party, the party is so popular, everything is educated, these people are now voting that way, that they'll naturally move away from SB 54. It doesn't benefit them to do it. And then part of my plan, which I said a little while ago, was when I do all these, 10 to 20 meetings a month all over the place, we're going to teach them exactly why why the caucus system has succeeded for years, decades, and what SB 54 has done to us in the last 10 years, how devastating that is. And then we're going to change their minds where they get their candidate, and then they're going to be so mad and so scared of SB 54 and what's happened and what's going to continue to happen. We're going to drive them to where they won't even sign the signature. Now that's part of my social media campaign. That's part of my these little 1-minute videos I keep talking about. They're going to be people, they don't want to talk on the phone anymore. You pick up the phone and you don't know it. You don't even answer the thing anymore. But people, they can be at work, and if the text message or instant message come in, they'll just stop what they're doing and watch the darn thing. And if it's only 1 minute, they'll do it. So we're gonna have a massive campaign of videos going out, social media, and we're gonna teach these people what should have been taught to them 12, 15 years ago to keep SB 54 from even taking place.
Yeah, real quick, forcing candidates to sign something to go through a certain process, in my opinion, is wrong. We're a party that we believe that the people have agency, and if you force specific candidates to go down a certain path, immediately they will rebel. What did we do as kids? What did we do as teenagers? Parents told us to do one thing. What did we do? We did the opposite. And so my opinion is that the legislature has to work this out. When you almost bankrupt the state party by trying to fight it and it doesn't go away and we're still here 10 years later with it, that is not the method in which we can get rid of it. And that is just my personal opinion. Thank you.
Let me just do a quick rebuttal. We've been 10 years with the legislature trying to do it, and nobody's done a thing. Okay? By the way, I was a part of not part of bankrupting the thing. I was busy as the vice chairman of the state party, battling and traveling the state, trying to get people aware of it. But it was new, it was fresh, and bam, it just happened to us, and we've been fighting it ever since.
Thank you. All right, next question goes to, let's see, I've had a few on them, so I'm trying to combine them. What are your thoughts on the Republican strength formula, and do you agree with removing precinct officers that don't necessarily vote for the Republican nominee?
No, this is still America. If you have precinct officers and they should still get to choose who they vote for. We can't dictate that to them and force people who to vote for. That is just wrong in every sense of the word. These people are donating their time. They're working their guts out. They have a right to choose who they vote for. Just because it wasn't what some of the party members wanted doesn't mean they can force them to do that. That's an absolute no.
So the Republican strength formula is a great formula that allows us to have representation in each of the precincts. The county oversees our county representation. The state oversees the state representation through delegates. I do not believe that if a delegate has a differing opinion of an individual, whether that be they supported so-and-so and they weren't necessarily the convention winner. Do I agree that we should remove that individual from their elected position within their caucus? No, I do not. I spoke with a gentleman earlier this evening who asked me that exact question, and I said I would come to you as an individual and ask you why it is that you're supporting this other individual. If you're supporting anyone outside of the party, that negates your delegate agreement that you signed at caucus. That generally doesn't happen. Nobody in this room supports Democrats, right? No, okay. Generally doesn't happen. However, I would have discussions with these individuals and really just help them understand the importance of supporting the convention winner or the convention nominee and how that adds value when we vote for that individual. It adds value in representation for our county. It increases our county delegate representation. And that is one way we can fight the blue coming south. The more representation we have in the county, the better opportunity we have to fight the blue that merges south. In order to do that, we do have to support those Republican candidates and specifically convention winners or the primary winner as they move on, okay? The goal is to have them come out of convention winning above that threshold that we don't have a primary and we have no issues with specific candidates. We support them all the way through the general election. That is the goal of the party, to educate people and move those numbers closer. So the Republican strength formula is a great formula and it gives us that representation. And I do not agree with removing individuals if they disagree.
Thank you. All right, let's see. All right, so we had some situations last year come up and now you've seen it in the news again, resurfacing with the signature gathering companies, fraud, there's been fraud charges brought up. So the question is, when things like this come up, do you support the county party putting out a statement, whether in support or against? Should the county party take a role in something like that when a situation comes up? You guys keep me on track.
So the beautiful thing about this is Washington County was part of the investigative body who actually found out this problem with this company that was collecting signatures. The county, our Ryan Sullivan, who is our county clerk, as well as our county attorney, Eric Clark, got to the bottom of this and found out that there was some fraudulent signature activity going on. I'm not going to tie that back to the candidate, but what I will say is that is important that our county's watching those results so quickly and checking those signatures so accurately that they were able to see the fraud, call the company, and that's what ultimately pushed this lawsuit up to Northern Utah. The same company that other individuals in that area had used. And so it wasn't the candidate's personal doing, it was the company that was representing them. Does the party owe a statement? Yes, if we have all the facts. We talked a little bit about this last night, but if the facts are there and we have all the information that we need, yes, I do agree transparency is key, and releasing a statement of sorts that backs up all the facts without emotion is something that we should do, and that's something that I will do. Thank you.
Yes, the county party does have a responsibility because we are the face of the Republicans in this county. And we owe it to them to take a strong stand when, like he said, when we find the facts and we've done the due diligence and everything and it comes out factual, we do need to take a strong stand in supporting not just transparency, but also rooting out cheating. Now, I will say this, and it's, by the way, that's probably not the only time that's taken place, okay? The fact that they can gather signatures and hire organizations to come up and do that kind of lends itself to the potential for that. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think there needs to be legislation or something going on to tighten that up. Well, let's get rid of it altogether, but while it's still here, to tighten that up so you can't just spend money, hire whoever, you don't even know who they are, and they just go say, because I've had them come to my door and I stood there and just played dumb. And the stuff they told me, hey, do you want your candidate to get on the ballot? If you don't sign this, they can't get on the ballot. I just sit there going, are you kidding me? You know, and all kinds of things are said just to get the signature. The motivation and the money behind gathering signatures with people that really don't know what's going on in the first place, they're just hired figures. They're getting paid to gather signatures. There's a problem with that. So we need to root that out and take a strong stand. If anything garbage like that's going on, we need to take a strong stand against it, but we need to take measures to make sure it doesn't happen. If they're going to allow signatures and use money to get on the ballot, let's make sure there's no fraudulent activity taking place.
All right, thank you. Next question, switching gears a little bit. We currently have a bylaw that makes the votes for county convention public. Do you agree with that, or would you prefer a secret ballot?
Oh, sorry about that. I disagree with it wholeheartedly. I mean, to have transparency on policy issues and legislation, fantastic. We need to see what our legislators, but when you're pitting people against each other and people are not casting votes for who they want to, and there are people in this room that have said it to me, and I know there's other people that haven't said it to me, that they have not voted for who they wanted to because they were afraid of either retribution or losing a friend or having a friend mad at them because that was all public. In a leadership election like this, people have to work together. And there are just some people that if both get elected, but they know that person didn't vote for them, that already begins the division. You want to stop division in the party? Stop division right there in the ranks and quit pitting people against each other. I think it's absolutely wrong. And I think somebody should bring up a motion at the county convention. That would be really cool if somebody said, hey, let's, before they pass the, what's that? agenda, yeah, sorry. I was thinking bylaws, but before they pass the agenda, somebody get up and somebody stand up and make a motion. Here I am telling you to do that. I've told people I don't think it'd be good if one of us did it, but because we're running for chair. But somebody stand up and make that motion. Let the body vote on. Let's kill that so everybody can vote the way they want to.
Amen.
All right. This is a deep question here. A couple different things. Number one, our bylaws depict who sets policy in the party. For example, the county central committee, which is comprised of the vice chair and the chair of the precinct, set the policy. They are the ones that can amend the organizing, or our documents, our governing documents, right? And so in our bylaws, it does state that policy resolutions will not be dealt with at convention. They are meant to be dealt with at the CCC, the body that governs the party. And so it's important to not get these two things confused. Could you make a resolution at convention? You can. The policy change in order to not have in order to not have votes be public needs to take place at the right governing body, which is at the county central committee meetings. We hold 2 of those a year, one in the spring and one in the fall, okay? How many of you in this room are chairs and vice chairs, okay? All of you would have a say in this if a bylaw was proposed. And again, I am for doing what the body wants done. In other words, if the CCC members came to the body and said, here's our proposal, we have a bylaw committee that reviews these, and many of you might ask to be on that bylaw committee so that we can get the language correct and get the information accurate. But the goal of that CCC committee in reviewing these bylaws is to do the will of the body, which represents the entire party in the county. Personally, I do what the body decides. I stand behind a vote that I make, and I will go to the individual and tell them, I had a case in point. Someone approached me that I didn't vote for. We had a great discussion about why, and this individual respected my vote. That doesn't happen all the time. There is sometimes some retribution. So if the body, the governing body, wants to do away with those the votes being public, I would support that.
Hey, Brandan, just a question. I think the thing we need to look into is in the governing documents, at this meeting, can there be a motion to simply suspend that? That's what we need to do, is can we suspend that just for then and then attack it with the rest of the body later on in a CCC meeting?
So yes, that could be done, and the public votes would not be seen. They wouldn't be broadcast up on the screen, and 2 weeks later they wouldn't be on the website. I'm going to caution you just a little bit. Many people in this room take those votes as scripture. They look at that vote and they say, that's someone I can get behind because they voted for my candidate or a candidate they prefer. Having that transparency and being able to see who people vote for, some people like, some people do not like that. And so again, the governing body is the body who changes those bylaws. Those are the CCC members, and that is meant to be that way. And if we debate for 30 minutes at convention on this, which is something you can do, it prolongs convention. But if it's important enough to everyone, then you can have those discussions at convention. But again, I would just say, look at both sides of that argument and see where you stand. I'm not leaning one way or the other, and I'll support whatever the governing body presents and whatever we vote upon to change the bylaws or keep them the same. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to switch topics. We've got several kind of asked on unity for the party. So the first one I'm going to start with is the left uses the terms racist or fascist and Nazi to the point that those words are now meaningless. Republicans sometimes call other Republicans who don't agree with them 100% rhinos. How do you ensure that all Republicans feel welcome without watering down our principles? So, yeah.
I think it's him first.
So this is something that I heavily believe in. It's something that motivates me. And I talked about it in my vision last night and my why. We don't want to water down our platform and our values and morals to the point where we are inclusive to everyone, and then they bring in their morals and values, and those things change. We do need to stand firm on our morals and values. As we do that, and as we take a firm stand, people respect where, if you've ever had a relationship and you've had a discussion with someone and they disagree with you, but you firmly state your views and you do it in a nice way, that person respects your integrity and respects you as an individual. They may not agree 100% with you, but they do respect that you will take a stand. To provide unity in the party, we have to, I'm going to go back to a point I hit on earlier, we have to not focus on a specific type of Republican. The party is a big tent party. We have to have all Republicans in this party. If we focus on narrowing that certain Republican and not allowing him to be over here or over here, because that's what creates the variety within the party, we have to be cautious about that. So respecting other people's opinions, having civil debates with individuals within our party. We have to remember that those that we fight against are the Democrats. That is the person or the war that the people we are against. It is not our own family members. And sometimes we kind of lose sight of that. So, thank you.
Brad has some really good points there that I think we all could agree on this stuff. But there's another name you missed out on. Those of us that are true constitutional conservatives that are also willing to voice our opinions and challenge things. There's this name called far right-wing radical. Far right-wing radical. Okay? It disgusts me that true patriots that are just standing for constitutional values are labeled that way. So I spoke a little bit about unity a little while ago, and there's when I was the vice chairman of the state party, the state chairman recognized my abilities there. And he actually gave me, and this is his words, not mine. Please, I don't look at people this way. This was his words, not mine. He said, Willie, Davis County, Iron County, Utah County, you name like 5 or 6, he says, we have some crazies there. That's what he said. I need you to take your talents and go bring those people in and bring them together so we stop the infighting. Now, I wasn't able to completely do that because that's impossible, by the way. But I am able to put my arm around both sides of issues, differing opinions, and help people realize their individual values. And what I don't do is I don't alienate people or get mad at people because we differ in opinion. Okay? Now, I have been known to call people out when I feel like they've done something wrong. But again, I refer back to my comment in a previous meeting. If you get offended because somebody says something that what didn't mean to be offensive and you're offended, that's dumb. Okay? If you get offended, even if they did mean to be offensive, it's still dumb. We do not let other people have emotional control over us. And the way you do that, or one of the ways, is you show genuine love for them first as a person, and then you work out your differences.
I just want to quickly add to that real quick, but as we look at past performance predicts future outcomes, as the secretary over the last 4 years, I've been able to unite the individuals that I've personally worked with. I've had the ability to reach out and grow precincts and put people together within precincts and unite the precincts to be on the same page and ultimately solve some of the problems that they may have had. That's been my job of the past 4 years, in addition to the other duties that I've served in. And so unity within the party is a goal that I will stand behind and that I will lovingly try to help people understand the importance of that we work together. That's the only reason and way that we will have strength in numbers. So thank you.
All right. This next question is asking, what will you do to educate younger voters specifically, or how to engage the younger voters in our party?
That's part of my multifaceted plan to engage thousands and thousands of people. It includes those people. When I keep referring back to this, but as vice chairman of the state party, what I began was a TARS club. You know what TARS is? Teenage Republicans. There were 35 or 40 teenage Republican clubs that we started in different high schools across the state. And it was fantastic. And then we would have a kind of a Constitution Day where we'd have a competition up at the state capitol, and then we'd get together and have competitions there, and we would declare a high school being a winner. It was just a ball. But that's our future. And so we have to engage at that level. We've got to heavily engage in the university, the college students. That's a big, big issue. And that's part of why I want to use the social media and all these little video campaigns, because you send those out to those people, and then you have one-on-one conversations with them, or go have a meeting at the college, or many meetings at the college. You're going to find those individuals that feel that way and unite with you in purpose. And that's what we need. It's all about casting a big enough net with thousands of people, and that big effort will then identify the people in college, your 20s and 30s, your 40s and 50s, your 60s. It will identify the people that do have that spirit about them, that they do want to be involved, but nobody's ever invited them. They don't even know how to get involved. And that's why I keep referring back to my plan. Because the only way to do all of this stuff is you guys just go out and really engage with thousands and thousands of brand new people, and let them know what we stand for, let them know what the platform is, and then find those ones that say, finally, I know where to go. I know how to get involved. Thank you.
Yeah, my hat off to Willie for starting some of those TARS committees. This past year and previous years, we've continued that tradition and held the high school boot camps. It's a caucus boot camp where people go and learn about this process. Many in this room participated. I think Brandan had some involvement. Lisa had some great involvement. This is kind of her brainchild for this caucus event in the high school. We held it at the college as well. And we had good turnout, and it instills the values of the caucus convention system, platform. It's a whole Saturday morning of fun, okay? How many of you in this room have an individual, a teenager, or someone that's just gonna turn 18 real soon that is ready to vote? Everybody raise a hand. Okay, we've got a handful, maybe 10, 12. My goal as chair is to create a committee where I will have 2 or 3 specific younger motivational individuals. Adley Elison is one of those individuals who has strength to unite the younger Republicans. Alexis Entz has helped us at the college level create the college Republicans. And my goal with this committee is to challenge them to invite, and I mentioned this in my beginning of my speech, and it might have been a little fast, so I apologize, but find 5 individuals in each precinct that are below that age of 25 and under, that have never attended a caucus. Teach them, educate them. I'll be more than happy to get involved there as well, but the goal is to get those individuals to caucus. That is how we educate the younger voters. Each of you at some point in your life got bit by the bug that really has held you strong through this process. And that's what I want to be able to do is, with that committee, reach out to those younger voters. It will happen. And the caucus convention or the boot camp that was held is something that I would definitely continue.
All right, time is flying. How are you guys doing? I think we only have time for one more question, and then we'll do closing statements. So the last question's on transparency. Do you support increasing transparency of the executive committee meetings by posting meeting minutes or on the county party website? Do you have any other ideas for transparency in the county party?
Sure, I think it's you.
Okay. That's kind of an interesting question for me. Why shouldn't it be completely transparent? I mean, we shouldn't even be talking about this. Everything should be out on the table and completely transparent. There should not be any actions or conversations that within party executive committee and decisions and things that they're making that that aren't out there, because if there is, you have to ask yourself, why are they not telling us? Okay, and I'm not insinuating in any way, shape, or form. There is not. Well, I don't know that that's happening inside our currently party. I can't say that. But the question itself begs a serious answer. There should be a lack of transparency. If somebody wants information on what was said, what was done on the minutes or happening in a meeting, we should immediately direct the party secretary to look that information up and get it to the individual right away. Pretty simple answer. I'm saving us time. I have 1 minute left.
Thank you. Yes, so I do agree that transparency is key and the minutes should be available to those. Each of the executive committee meetings are public meetings. And so any of you can attend those meetings. Generally, the agenda is shared with the committee members and the executive committee. There's 8 of them: the chair, vice chair, secretary, treasurer. The 4 legislative chairs are voting members. And then we invite all of our SCC members and we invite all of our committee. Sometimes we'll have a room of 40 people and it is a public meeting. Am I opposed to having the minutes on the website? No, I'm not. And if that is something that we authorize as an executive committee, definitely. There is nothing to hide in the agenda. The agenda is the flow of the meeting and what we need to discuss. Often it's planning the next event. It is planning the convention and how the district chairs need to focus on making sure that all of the district delegates are able to show up, or the precinct delegates. So no, there's nothing that would prevent us and or prevent me from authorizing that information to be held. You will notice on our party website that we do have attendance records of all of the individuals of the executive committee. There's attendance records of all of the delegates from past conventions. So if you want to know if your delegate has represented you, you can go on there and look. There is transparency. We don't post the agendas on there currently, but that's something we could definitely do. And there's nothing that would oppose me in doing that as the chair. Again, I take into consideration what the executive committee that was elected to work with me, if I were to be chair, I take into consideration their thoughts, and ultimately I'd make that final decision. But no, there's nothing that would prevent that information from being on there. But I will encourage you to go on the website, click on the 3 tabs, and find the information that is on there: the platform, the bylaws, the election results currently. We have on there also all the attendance records. So there's transparency there. We could add the agenda, not a problem. Thank you.
Thank you. I apologize if we didn't get to all the questions. We tried to get to most of them, combine them. So we're going to end with our closing statement, and then don't mind, sorry, this is cutting out, helping us put the chairs up. We can stay and ask questions. We just have to be out of here at 7:45. So let's see, who started first on opening? I forget. Okay, let's start with Willie for closing. 3 minutes.
Having some technical issues here. Okay. Well, I love this process. I'm grateful that you guys all spend the time and effort to come in and represent your neighborhoods and spend the time to vet the candidates, get the questions, and get a feel for who you really want to support. That's incredibly important. I just can't stand the fact that we all go to convention and everything gets negated in a lot of circumstances. So we've got to fight that battle. Really the difference, if I wanted to draw a difference between Brandan and I, it can't be the hair, because if I cut mine that short, we look exactly the same. Our shoes are different because when you hit over 55 years old, you have the right to wear black tennis shoes for dress shoes. It's just an issue, okay? But this is a good man, you guys, okay? And I appreciate everything that he's done for the party. If I were to draw some differences, I just have 20 some odd years in every single capacity, from precinct chair to leg chair to chair of the county party to vice chairman of the state party, and all of these executive committees for years and SEC committees for years, all these things. And I'm now got a renewed vision and an energy, because I realize this thing isn't going to get fixed unless I do my best. And I want to do it here in Washington County. And so I bring all of that experience of not just seeing what's happened for years, but seeing what hasn't worked. And I want to change that, where we start putting our efforts towards what will work. I want you all to help us and work hard, but I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to work hard at something where we don't have the potential, it doesn't have the power to really give us the measurable results that we're looking for. And so I'm looking at this completely different than I did 12 years ago when I was the chairman. When I was the chairman then, I came in initially, I ran it and did what I had seen done. And then as I got a little more confidence, realized what I could do, I tweaked it, I added a whole bunch of fundraising, I did a bunch of things but I was still learning how to do the job. I'm no longer learning how to do this job. I recognize fully how to do all of it, but our focus has got to be the main thing. And that's got to be is eliminating the reason that the candidates use SB 54. And my plan to do that, I've talked to you about that a little bit, but I'm going to work tirelessly over the next 2 years to implement that plan. And I am prayerful that you will allow me to do this and you will join with me and we will work together as a team. And in 2 years, I would love to have to be bugged by all the counties and say, how did you fix this? How do we do that? Come and help us. Okay, thank you very much.
So as we close tonight, I do want to hit on just metrics that we can measure. I want you to go along with me for a moment. In 2022, we had 54,146 registered Republicans in Washington County. 3,432 attended caucus. That's 6.5% of the people showed up to caucus of the registered voters in 2022. 2024, after training and education transpired, we had 67,904 registered Republicans. The attendance had doubled to 6,600 that year. That was our past one. At 10% of the registered Republicans are attending caucus. My lofty goal is 25%. Many of you have seen that on some of my material. That's a significant increase. But what I will tell you is if we continue on the same track we are right now, our potential registered Republican count will be around 87,000 in Washington County. And if we double our numbers, which we will do through consistent training, we'll be up to 13,000 caucus attendees, or around 15%. And that's if nothing changes from where we are currently. My goal is to get involved and create the committees that will do that education and training. I was talking to a lady here tonight about how I believe this is done at the precinct level. I believe that the precinct leader is the one that sets the tone for whether or not they can get the neighborhood out to caucus. In Sun River, it's a challenge because you cannot hang flyers in certain areas and you can't promote. But there are means and ways to do that. Judy was one of those influential individuals who did that, right? And there's many people that are stepping up. So in contrast, if Willie holds 15 meetings a month, let's say he gets 10 people to each meeting, and maybe this is low, I don't know. I mean, it's a lofty goal. So he gets 10 people to each meeting, that's 150 people in a month. And over the 12 months between now and caucus, he may have gotten in front of 1,800 people. Hopefully more, that would be the goal. But if he gets in front of 1,800 people, that is not the 6,000 in growth that we would have from the standard, I shouldn't say standard, but the process that we have in place that I will adapt and change and make better. But we have doubled our numbers every single year. And in closing, I just want to thank each of you for the opportunity to allow us to engage with one another and allow the ability for me to communicate with you on a personal level. I'm not going to be a perfect leader, but I will be a leader that will lead by example, and I'll be a leader who unites the party and someone who sets the example and the path forward in which we can all follow. And I'd appreciate your vote at convention. Thank you.
All right, let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you so much. It takes a lot of courage and heart to put yourself out there for the chair position. So thank you so much. Feel free to ask questions and enjoy your night. Thank you for joining us.
How do we pause this?
Appreciate you watching that for us.
No worries. Next time, what we ought to do is run that